On the news tonight, federal government reaffirms commitment to address electricity shortage in health facilities across Nigeria. Nigerian Customs Service recruits over 3,000 applicants. My name is Anthony Gandon. Now the news in details. The federal government has reaffirmed its commitment to tackling the persistent electricity shortages affecting health delivery, with plans to ensure that at least 30% of Nigeria's health facilities have reliable power by 2027. The pledge was reaffirmed as the Ministerial Steering Committee of the Nigerian Power for Health Initiative meeting to review progress on the program and outlined new strategies to fast-track sustainable energy access for hospitals and other healthcare facilities across the country. Nta Ijebu reports.
Nigeria's healthcare transformation agenda gained fresh momentum as the Minister of State for Health and Social Welfare and the Minister of Power jointly chaired the third meeting of the Nigeria Power for Health Initiative.
Our goal, as approved by Mr. President, is to ensure that we're able to deliver energy access to at least 30% of our health facilities in the country by the end of 2027.
Enough of groundbreaking, enough of media rhetorics. We want to start commissioning teaching hospitals, state hospitals, even primary healthcare centers that were actually energized.
With power shortages limiting healthcare delivery in many primary and rural health centers, the committee reviewed progress and outlined recommendations to accelerate implementation.
We have used the 8 months to build the governance structure, which has been well set up. I did mention what REA is doing with some of our hospitals. They have energized 100 of our hospitals nationwide. Some of our development partners are also doing the same at the primary healthcare level. So this platform will now create the opportunity for us to be able to have a central database where everything that is going on with respect to healthcare electrification is nationally visible.
Stakeholders reaffirmed that stronger collaboration among government, development partners, and private investors remains key to powering better health outcomes for millions of Nigerians. In Abuja, Nta Ijebu Ode News.
Over the years, the search for employment begins immediately after graduation. Yet, many graduates do not access their dream job. Now, the National Commission for Colleges of Education, NCCE, is taking steps to ensure future graduates leave school equipped to create jobs instead of waiting. The Executive Secretary of the Commission, Dr. Angela Ajala, says the Commission is transforming classrooms into Center of Innovation and Entrepreneurship. Lecturers from colleges of innovation and entrepreneurship, lecturers from colleges of education across Nigeria are being equipped with practical skills to mentor students, develop viable business ideas, and access startup supports.
Colleges of Education, they prepare teachers, and teachers are supposed to impact on students. So how do you expect students to have entrepreneurial thinking? Teachers, first of all, have to have it.
If we build the teacher well to have an entrepreneurial mindset, then you can imagine the thousands and millions of children that they will be building to ensure that they can build Nigeria into a greater nation. So it's a key strand. It's not a subject. It's a culture shift. It's a mindset. It's something that will position every college going forward.
What is happening? What is the problem? What is the gap? and how do you fill in that gap? And filling the gap means how do you get money after filling the gap?
The Nigerian Customs Service has released the final list of successful candidates for its 2024-2025 recruitment exercise. Out of 573,680 applicants, only 3,852 candidates secured places for available positions. In a news conference, Controller General of Customs Adewale Adeniyi unequivocally remarked that the painstaking nature of the recruitment elongated the process. He said the overall selection ratio showed that only one candidate emerges from every 148 applicants.
Equal across states by deliberate design. Each of the 36 states receives an identical number of places in each of the cadre, and that is 35 in the superintendent cadre per state, 10 in the inspectorate cadre, and 60 in the customs assistant cadre, giving a total of 105 places to each of the 36 states of the Federation. The Federal Capital Territory, FCT, received 72 places in accordance with the applicable formula. No state received more than the other.
He hinted the customs recruitment exercise will henceforth be conducted annually. The history, cultural heritage, and development of Yewa Land came into focus at the public presentation of Yewa Land in Historical Perspective, a new book authored by renowned scholars, Emeritus Professor Anthony Ijebu Ode. Bumi Oni reports that the publication builds on the author's early works, border regions in Africa, and the birth of Yewa Land.
The book, Yewa Land in Historical Perspective, examines the history, political evolution, and developmental challenges of Yewa Land, a border region in Ogun State. Author and editor of the publication, Emeritus Professor Anthony Ijebu Ode, said the work was conceived to preserve the rich heritage of the people while stimulating conversations on the region's future development.
What inspired it? It is developments since the publication of the enlarged edition of the Birth of Yewa Land.
Minister of State for Health, Dr. Isiaq Salako, commended the author for documenting the history of Yewa Land, describing the publication as a valuable resource for scholars, policymakers, and future generations. The Onimeko of Imeko Land, Oba Benjamin Alabi Olanite, and the member representing Imeko from Yewa North Federal Constituency, Boyega Nasir Isiaka, joined other prominent sons and daughters of Yewa Land in calling for greater unity and collective commitment to the development of the region.
The identity of the people of Yewa Land is now put on the global sphere now. Anybody that wants to know about Yewa people, you don't need to be asking questions from anyone. If you Google search, you will see the book there, and it will tell you what you want about Yewa people. It is about our identity in Yewa Land of the West.
Leadership unity, and that is what this book is about. We are not an appendage of any or ethnic group. Let me say ethnic group. We are who we are, and we need to establish it. That is why Baba is launching the book today.
The essence of every individual is to know his own origin, his own background, for him to be able to determine who he is. The book is going to bring more cooperation, more understanding, and more questions.
The first thing to believe in ourselves, to see this place as our home. We have to take ownership of our area, of our region, and develop it.
Seizing this opportunity again to call on our father, the father of the nation, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, that these development commissions should pay a lot of attention, enough of neglect of the periphery and concentrating on the center, to pay a lot of attention on our border communities, because we need a lot of development.
The event featured a review of the book, panel discussions, and the official unveiling of the publication. It attracted traditional rulers, academics, public office holders, and other dignitaries, including the paramount ruler of Yewaland and the Olu of Ilaro, Oba Dr. Kehinde Gbadewole Olugbele, who was represented at the occasion. In Imeko Afon local government, Bumi Oni, Nta News.
We will be back shortly. Please stay tuned. Welcome back. The news continues. Access to public buildings remain one of the most visible physical barriers facing persons with disabilities today across Nigeria. Offices, financial institutions, educational facilities, and healthcare centers. Architectural design frequently limits independence. Joel Popola reports that most physically challenged persons, especially those on wheelchair, often require extra effort or reliance on third-party assistance to gain access to public buildings.
Activities that able-bodied citizens take for granted, such as entering a doorway, moving between floors, are most times an Herculean task for those living with physical challenges. Abiodun Adebeshi, an active member of the Joint National Association of Persons with Disabilities, has been facing an uphill task since his confinement to the wheelchair due to stroke, which further worsened his situation.
There is intersectionality when it comes to the issue of disability. How a person with this walking stick can access our road, our building, is different from someone with wheelchair, someone that is blind. There is intersectionality.
While his office has made provisions for his mobility and access, the situation is different when he needs to travel.
I was going for a Jonabit meeting in Abeokuta to see public transport that will take me to the venue of the was struggle, and I have to pay extra 3,500 where others are paying 500 to be able to get to the venue of the event.
Many like him who are confined to the wheelchair are facing similar ordeal.
We will be happy to see the disabled community to experience a free and fair treatment in the society.
A legal practitioner, Jimo Mohammed, says there are laws already enshrined to promote inclusion, and this includes access to public buildings.
They are supposed to be considered while erecting or constructing public buildings. You do a ramp, whereas those who are physically fit could climb steps. The law equally provides that if you discriminate against anybody, as an individual, maybe employer or citizen, you pay up to a fine of 100,000. If it's a public entity or corporate entity, up to 1 million or 6 months imprisonment.
Achieving complete physical accessibility, experts say, requires serious enforcement. In Lagos, Joel Popola, Nta News.
So much for the news tonight.